Hello, this is Marty Smith, and we are analyzing Napoleon Dynamite for my video analysis project. With me is my brother Luke,
This is I'm his brother Luke.
and the way this video is going to work is we're going to be playing three short clips from the movie, one in the beginning, one in the middle, and one in the end, and analyzing different aspects of what make this movie great. So, without further ado, let's get into this summary.
Only $300. You can sign up right now for my 8-week program.
Napoleon Dynamite is a 2004 American comedy directed by Jared Hess, and personally, it is my second favorite movie that I've seen. Its plot is so simple. All it really is about is this boy named Napoleon Dynamite who is a high school student, and he is living in high school, and not a lot happens. He makes a friend. He goes to a dance. It doesn't have anything really, substantial plot wise, but the
There's
film.
no point in the film.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason why we're analyzing it is because it's such an effective comedy. It's such a classic. When you ask someone, "Hey, what's the plot of Napoleon Dynamite?" It's literally like, "Oh, it's just him. It's Napoleon Dynamite living," and that, in its essence, really isn't a lot. But the movie itself is really well done, and especially with just the first opening scene, which is this one right here.
What are you gonna do today, Napoleon?
Whatever I feel like I want to do. Gosh.
So the first scene is when Napoleon Dynamite is waiting for the bus, and I think it does an extremely good job in setting up his character.
Exactly. What better way to establish a character other than having him just awkwardly stand waiting for the bus, nothing happening?
And I think the beauty in this scene is just the lack of music, and it just heightens all the other sounds, like the gravel on the road or like the chirping of the birds, and it's just so awkward, and the Napoleon Dynamite is just standing there, and it's so awkward, and that just sets the tone for the rest of the movie, which I think it's crazy. It's awesome.
It's almost as if the scene is setting up how the movie's going to be. It's like Napoleon is just sitting there waiting for his day to start, and as soon as he gets on that bus, boom, it's off to school, and the music starts, and it's just this is your typical high school student going riding the bus with elementary school kids who are almost as awkward as he is.
Yeah, and I just think him being with elementary school kids is just that just sets the tone even higher, and it's like why is he there? Like
Yeah, it makes him
he's
stick out like a sore thumb. Like
he's the
just this big guy among a whole bunch of elementary school kids.
and like the saying of like all the cool kids go in the back of the bus, and then we have this guy going in the back of the bus with another like really awkward eighth grader, and their conversation is even more just awkward, and that's what just makes it funny.
Yeah, this was made as a comedy, and you're trying to establish a character in a funny way. what better way than with just this scene in general?
And the dialogue. Let's talk about the dialogue here.
Oh,
So
okay.
the first thing we hear from Napoleon Dynamite is what?
Whatever I feel like I want to do. God.
That in itself tells.
Speaks for itself, does it not? That's a classic quote right
Yeah,
there.
like what does he do? He brings out an action figure attached to a fishing line and throws it out the window.
Just
Why?
I don't understand.
You know? But I think that's the point in this movie is like they want the audience to think like, all right, why?
Did you ride the bus to school?
No, I ride my bike.
What kind of bike do you have?
It's a sledgehammer.
Dang. You got shocks, pegs. Lucky. You ever take it off any sweet jumps? You got like 3 feet of air that time. Can I try it really quick?
Let's start talking about the second scene here. The first thing I want to talk about is pretty much just this conversation that he has with him and Pedro.
God, it's so stupid.
Well, I mean, I want to ask what the significance is.
It's trying to talk about the significance of Napoleon Dynamite.
Well, yeah, but like,
yeah.
I'm serious. Like,
Yeah,
what's
I
the
got you.
significance? What does this resemble?
Well, first things first, the cut. Just the cut in the middle of their conversation. It goes from them inside the school, Napoleon showing Pedro his locker, to boom, outside, here's my bike, right?
Dude,
Now,
that cut is so sloppy, and that is for a reason. That just fits the style of this movie perfectly.
so if it's sloppy for a reason, is it technically clean?
It is.
Yeah.
That is perfect. Exactly, Luke.
Yes.
This is the cleanest cut in the film.
Go me. Give me an A.
And yeah. And then there's another awkward transition right after they look at the bike, and that is when they're doing tricks off the really weird, broken
Ramp. The wooden plywood ramp.
And that's just another interesting cut in this scene. But also, it feeds right into a zoom in shot of Napoleon, which there's not a lot of like shots that move in this. It's mostly like the shots are pretty standard in this film, so
Yeah,
when it
pretty
does
stationary.
yeah, like when it does zoom in, I believe it's for a reason, and that reason is, one, to make the audience feel awkward like it's been doing the whole movie, but also it zooms in on his shirt, and his shirt has 2 horses on it, which, friendship, yeah,
It's all friendship.
free.
Especially that one cut. It's not usually in a movie what you would have is if you're trying to establish care between characters, you would have character development. It's literally, I'm gonna show you where your locker is. Boom, we're friends forever. You're my best friend, and it's just it's so beautifully done. For a comedy, of course, just because it's so awkward. Things happen, and the comedy is that they happen.
The cherry on top is obviously when Napoleon is riding the bike and hits his nuts on the bike after breaking the ramp. That's just pure comedy, slapstick comedy at the greatest.
Comedy, yeah, it just establishes the character.
trip to the other side of town. You know I heard that boogie rhythm. Hey, I had no choice but to get down, 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 dance. Woo. Nothing left for me to do but dance. All these bad times I'm going through, just dance. Got candy in my ears tonight, big bad. I feel the thunder, see the lightning. I know this anger is heaven sent. So I've got to hang out on my hang-ups. 'Cause on the boogie I feel so hell-bent. Hey, hey, it's just an instant gut reaction that I get. I know I've never ever felt like this before. I don't know what to do, but then that's nothing new. Stuck between hell and high water, I need a cure to make it through. Hey, dancing, nothing left for me to do but dance. All these bad times I'm going through, just dance. Hey, got candy in my ears tonight, baby. You know, no, no, I'm gonna dance, yeah. All the nasty things that people say, dance, yeah. But I'm gonna make it anyway, yeah. Got candy.
So what stands out to you in this scene? We have Napoleon dancing in front of his classmates and all black backgrounds and weird boots and a shirt that says vote for Pedro.
Probably the brightest shirt that he could possibly own. But what really makes this scene iconic is just how awkward Napoleon is.
Yeah, you can definitely tell he's only been dancing for a week, and I think the black background really points out his whiteness in this scene. Like, there's a reason why the background is black and not white or red or anything. It's just to make him stand out. There is cuts to when it's just on his shoes and he's trying to moonwalk, and that is ridiculous.
It just makes the scene that much more iconic.
Yeah, and I don't think it's that bad of dance moves, to be honest. It's just so white. Like, the only
Sounds like the way that I would dance.
the only description that I can say is white, and I think that's what the director was going for. And I also want to talk about the music he decides to dance to.
The artist is Jumanji, and the song is called "Just Dance," and it's really a funky tune, that most normal people would be able to easily dance to. But here, you could just see Napoleon just so out of rhythm and just so off beat, but his moves are still good. Makes the scene that much more hilarious.
And I like the audience in this as well. It's like you expect like everyone else watching it to be like the bully, like what the heck did I just watch? But no, everyone likes it. And it's emphasized, the reaction of the crowd is emphasized by the sudden cut in music. And him just running off stage, which just makes the scene feel so much more awkward, but it's cleared by the eruption of the audience.
Yeah, it brings the audience back, especially the older people who are watching. Makes the scene pretty relatable just to see this guy dancing on stage, reminding, I don't know, older people of, oh, high school really was that awkward and it was just me here. I remember going to an assembly where it was just, oh, here's this thing, and then I watched it, and then I went home.
And I think that's the beauty of Napoleon Dynamite, it being so gosh darn relatable, and that's why I decided to analyze this movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. 10 out of 10.
Overall, Napoleon Dynamite is a movie that has loads of artistic value to it. From the 3 scenes that I showed you and the way we analyze them, it's easy to point out that this movie is a work of art, and I definitely recommend this to whoever. If you haven't seen it, go for it. Thank you.
I feel like I want to do. God.